If an hour is worth $1,000, if you make $8,000 of throughput a day, let's just roughly say that's $1,000 an hour. If you gain an hour at your control point every day, that's 20,000 bucks a month. Yeah, 20,000 bucks a month. You haven't even done anything lean yet. You're just measured. This is where we start.
I just got off a call from one of our customers in Australia. He called me and had 10,000 questions about his factory. He's like, well, our production's not level and we're doing this, we're doing that. And he was just going crazy for about 20 minutes. And I'm like, hey, what's with all the questions? Like, where do you go? He goes, I got my dashboard set up. I can't even believe what's happening.
Right. And that's why
Yeah.
we say don't worry about perfecting this and getting precision when you set it up. As you go through the month, as you're looking at the days, you be like, are we missing some expenses in here? Or did we really record the right throughput dollars? But as you do this, in 2 or 3 months, you're going to know so much about your company that you didn't know before. It's going to be wild. You just have to trust us on that one. It is going to be wild. If you're not measuring at this level today, wow.
Yeah.
It should be quite shocking to you. I'm going to show you what we use from a perspective of how do we know how we're doing. So I guess my question to you is, do you get your results 45 days later? Are you waiting, for 3, 4, 5 weeks to get your financial results? How do you know you're winning today? How do you know you're winning or losing? Are you doing okay? Can anybody give me some feedback here?
Hello, Lynn. So we have a board. CNC operator tags his how many sheets they cut and how many cabinets are assembled and how many crates go out. And so every morning we review that.
So you have your target daily, and then you have the next morning you're saying, how did we do yesterday? What about dollar wise? Can you see, is it points or dollars or is it pieces that you guys are looking at?
It's pieces,
Okay.
but so we need improvement. We're looking forward to what you've got to show.
To the rest of the group, you probably don't know is there's a lot of people that signed up that haven't dealt with us before. I'm Lynn from Quantum Lean. Brad is my business partner in Quantum Lean and Kaizenify. We're basically interacting with customers all the time. We're in the hidden factory and in the shop. So let me just explain the hidden factory for those of you that don't know. The hidden factory is, most people refer to it as the office. So this is your sales team, purchasing, engineering, HR, accounting. That's a whole other factory. We call that the hidden factory because we can't see the waste in your hidden factory like we can see it on your shop floor or in your factory. That's, of course, if you actually tangibly make something. Some of the customers we have are e-commerce customers. They don't actually make anything where they are. So most of their business is a hidden factory. In this case, we're going to talk about both. So we have our hidden factory and then we have our shop floor. But also on the shop floor, we're dealing with, our targets are typically we want to make X number of dollars per day. We call it throughput dollars because we take the material out of it. The material can skew your productivity. So in order to supercharge our productivity, we want to take the material out. So we're looking at actual productivity, and then we want to see it on a daily basis. It's just too late to get the numbers in 3 or 5 weeks and truly understand how we did. Did we make money or not? In the case of, like Phil, you said, we know our number of pieces. Was that enough pieces in order to, meet your goals that day as well, right? You may have said, hey, we want you to make 10 of these units, but 10 of those units didn't cover your actual expenses for the day. So we learned about this over the line chart from Bo Lewis. Him and his family had a big cabinet company and they were really successful. And they taught us the concept of this over the line chart about 10 years ago. And we've been using it ever since with very, very high success. What this tells me, that this over the line chart here, I'm going to blow it up a little bit. How we use this is your break-even line. So in this case, I have a demo company set up and my break-even is $80,000 per month. That is all of my expenses, everything it costs me to run this business, including labor, no material. Anything that leaves the building with the stuff that you make is not in here. Take material out of both sides of this equation. This is my break-even line. So at a minimum, this is the break-even line projected across every day in the month. And as you can see here, I am in the month of April. I'm in the current month. So every day I'm plotting my progress in throughput dollars, and you can see it. If I'm not at the line or above the line, then I didn't meet my targets today. So it's very easy for me to see visually everything in lean manufacturing. We want to have a visual factory. So I can see right here on my first day, I did not make the line. So I struggled. I really struggled to get things off the ground in the beginning of the month in this demo company here. You can see I definitely did not meet my target here or here. In this case, I put good day on here. So you can type some notes in there so that as an owner, you can see this from afar. I could be getting on an airplane and bring this up on my phone and see how my team is doing. In this case, you can see we had a really good day. We're well above the line. So the goal is to get well above this line by the end of the month, and also even higher. So I'm going to go into my historical data and show you March, because this shows me a whole month here. My historical data in March is wildly successful because I changed my parameters in my demo company. So you can see we did extremely well in March. When you look at the dashboard itself, it's showing you your current month. At the end of the day, this is how we did from a productivity standpoint. This is one company, and you can use this in different ways. So a couple of weeks ago, I was helping out a metal shop, and their hidden factory was starving the metal shop of orders. They just could not keep up. We're using the over the line chart just to look at the hidden factories throughput, because we need to make sure that those guys are meeting their goals before we can go out to the shop and say, okay, guys, let's go. That's the flexibility here that we have, is that you can apply this just to the hidden factory. If you have a short-term problem to solve, ideally, I would just use it for the entire company. We want to know, are we making money every single day? Are we on track to making money every single day? And if we're not, I'm looking at this and saying, how's tomorrow going to be different? Because if we don't look at it at this level, what happens is I find out in 3 more weeks that we had a really bad month in April. Well, from an operations manager's perspective, there's nothing I can do about that now. That's history. It's bad news. It's driving morale down. I can't remember what my actual issues were, and I probably wasn't looking at that level. I wasn't paying attention at that level because I'm not being measured this way. So that's the other thing about this over the line chart is, as an owner or the president of the company, this is how I'm holding my operations team accountable. I'm saying, here's your target, and then we need you to be above this line by a certain percentage. You might be much higher, and then you get a bonus program, and we have that in here. You can set up a bonus in here, and you can say, I have one set up in here, I just haven't hit a bonus yet this month. So the first 10% over the line is a bonus. The next 10% I'm going to split between everyone in the company. And how we update this chart every day, I'm going to update it with yesterday's data here. So I'm going to say our throughput dollars this is all of the information we need to make this entire chart work. I'm going to say we had 14 people in the building. And in this case, I've said I'm going to transact everything in points. You can define that: pieces, cabinets, points, whatever you want. So 4 pieces of information. And then my chart's updated for the day. So that would be what I just put in here right now. Every day, this is being updated so we can see how we're doing. So that's the first level. This graph up here is representing the buffer between the hidden factory and the shop. I always want to make sure I have a full buffer, a nice healthy buffer between the hidden factory and the shop, because if not, my shop is going to slow down to the rate they're being fed. So productivity will go down if I don't have a nice big buffer in between the hidden factory and the shop. So that's why I want to make sure I'm in this yellow zone here, which you can see I am here. Here's my performance of the day. So this is focusing the people that have the ability to manage this situation, the operations manager, the team leader. This is focusing them on, here's your target. Let's see your results. How's tomorrow going to be different? If it was a great day, then you can go out and tell your people, high five, we had a great day today. But you're getting immediate feedback, and the accountability and the drive and the focus. I'll give you an example. Quite often I'm on the shop floor with a production manager, and we're at the control point, the bottleneck, which throttles your throughput. So this is the most important area for us to focus on. and someone will come over and say, hey, can you unload that trailer over there? The guy from receiving's not here. We really need to get that guy going. And he'll happily go over and unload that truck. But if I'm at the control point and I'm watching this, I'm saying, no, the most important spot for me to be right now is at this control point. We're struggling. We are going to lose throughput dollars today. Our productivity will go down if I don't stay here and manage this situation. So I need to delegate that to someone else. But we really have to change our thinking. Quite often, this level of management is in, I'm going to go help everyone who asks, as much as I can. So I'm getting pulled in all these different directions. These charts are really focusing mechanisms. Here's where I want you to be. If you're doing really well so far today, then go unload the truck if you have to, or find someone else even better. But this is the whole point of this, is that you're not losing focus on this is what controls your throughput. This is what controls your productivity. There's no more important place for you to be. If your feeding operations are struggling, you will be able to see that from that control point. You will see that you're having quality issues. You'll see that maybe the quality issues are slowing you down. You're getting some downtime at your control point, or it's slowing down, or you're missing parts. You're going to see that at the control point, and you're going to be able to tackle that right away. But if you're not there, or if you're not paying attention at this level, this could go on for hours and days, and you're just purging at that point. You're purging cash at that point, and you're not making your throughput. Is everybody on board with me so far? Does anybody have any questions?
I kind of made a quick comment there. So I like how you're aggregating the data and pulling everything into one chart. The challenge I've seen previously is got like high volume, low revenue lines. Everything looks good on those. But then when you pull everything together, you got your higher revenue, lower volume lines may not be performing well. But now you're trying to pull that data into one chart, looking at your profitability. You see where I'm going with that? It can be a little challenging.
The other thing this tells me when I look at this chart, because I'm looking at it every day and I'm getting immediate feedback every day, I can tell, that's the other advantage of looking at things at this level, I can tell what products run through my factory well and which ones don't. Right? Now, if I have a whole bunch of different lines producing all day long, of course, that's going to be more of a challenge. But at that point, I'm measuring by the hour. And I'm going to go down another level and measure by the hour for sure, especially at my control point. My control point, I am measuring by the hour. My factory, I'm measuring by the day. My business, I'm measuring by the day. You will be able to see your throughput dollars will be higher today when you're running products that seem to be easy for you. And products that you struggle with, you will have lower throughput dollars. You expected higher, but you got lower throughput dollars because you struggled somehow. Maybe there was issues with the drawings. Maybe there's issues with the instructions. Maybe there was issues with material. I don't know, but you're going to see it right away. That's also where so all of these graphs come from those 4 pieces of data you key in. We're really slicing and dicing it in a different way so you can get that immediate feedback. In this case, my throughput dollars per labor hour is saying my throughput today divided by the number of people that are in the building divided by the number of hours they work. So now I know my throughput dollar per hour number. So this is my number where I'm saying yearly I'm about $30.67. Yesterday I was $33.92. So that's good. I'm in the green zone. And you program these numbers in your settings page. I'll show you that in a minute. But I just want you to show you how to use these graphs, because this is if you don't get at least an hour back at your control point every day just by using this, I would be shocked. And then what's an hour worth to you? If an hour is worth $1,000, if you make $8,000 of throughput a day, let's just roughly say that's $1,000 an hour. If you gain an hour at your control point every day, that's $20,000 a month. Yeah, $20,000 a month. You haven't even done anything lean yet. You're just this is where we start. We start by implementing this level of measuring, and now we can see every time we make an improvement, the impact of the improvement, which also helps get your culture, your lean culture going, the improvement culture, because they can't see the effect. They don't know that, and everybody's going on feelings. I think we had a good day. I think we had a bad day. We might have had a great day. This is going to tell me right away, did I make a good decision? I made a really good decision here. My throughput dollars per labor hour skyrocketed, and then I maintained it for a few days. So what happened? My first question is, what did we do well that day? Maybe we had a guy call in sick and we have too many people on that in that work cell. That happens all the time. But this is going to give you the immediate feedback. Maybe you installed a piece of equipment that's helping you automate. I would expect my throughput dollars to go up. Maybe I move someone from one work cell over to my control point for the afternoon and my throughput dollars went up. Magic, right? So now I know I need someone else at my control point, and I'll happily, even if you have to hire someone for that position, your throughput dollars is going to be way higher than what you're paying that guy. But this is going to tell you, this is going to confirm every decision you make, good or bad in this case. My throughput dollars went down. Now I know I made a bad decision. But this is going to tell you how you're doing. This is your daily result, the green line. This red line is your trending result. Every time I have a graph, I want to see what's my trend. Am I getting better or worse? Because if I'm looking at this, I'm going to be able to say to my operations manager, I can see you're slowly getting better and you're holding that trend. That's great. Whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. And then in this case, I could see my minutes per points or my minutes per pieces went up, which is bad. And we've been maintaining it, but now we're gradually going back down. Good job. Does that make sense to you guys? The different graphs, points per day, pieces per day, you define it. But essentially, I'm saying, here's how we're doing today, and here's our rolling average so we can see, are we getting better? Are we getting worse? And more importantly, are we on track to meet our throughput dollar targets every day? And by the end of the month, there's no surprises.
No, very good. As far as like entering data at your production lines, are you using electronic or are you using manual? What do you, I mean, obviously it varies from company to company.
So for the throughput dollars, you're just entering in 4 pieces of data here every day, right?
So how the intro, yeah.
So how you collect that data is another story, right? So in this case, it depends on your type of business, right? If you have it electronically available and you can export it, roll it up and sum it up for me, I'm just keying in your throughput dollars for the day. Whoever's doing it is just putting in your total throughput dollars, not by line. How you get that is a different story. It could be, they might be using a point system and, they got a stack of papers at the end at their last station and they're adding up their points and then they're putting that in, and a point is worth X number of throughput dollars in that case. If I'm a custom operation, it's easier for me to use points. So I'll say I got 5 points across the finish line today, and I've already defined a throughput dollar or 1,000 throughput dollars for a point. So then I just say, oh, that's 5,000 throughput dollars. We're not filing our taxes based on this either, right? Your financial statements are what you're using to pay your taxes. This is to say, how are we doing? Oh, there's Brad. This is to say, how are we doing? And are we on track? Where do we need to focus? Because if this happened today, and as an owner, if you're my operations manager and you put this comment there on that day, I know you're well aware of what the problems are, you're focusing on them, and you got it. And I am not going to pick up the phone and call you. But if there's no comments there, I have to ask myself, is he on it? Are they aware of it? Are they doing something about it? So it's also used as a communication tool. Like this is what I use to manage another production environment that's, a plane ride away from me in another country. And it works brilliantly because if we communicate like this, I know they've got it. They're responsible. If they need help, they'll ask me. Or if we have 2 days in a row where we're not doing well, that I might call up and say, guys, do you need my help? Do I need to get do you need me to escalate to get, is this a vendor issue? Do we need to get an expert in here? So it's just showing us we need to get this thing back on the rails, escalate if they need help. So again, I said, this is how we're holding people accountable.
Example of how some of these tools have been effective is we just installed a giant new robot into our facility. And so we're able to watch our metrics and, one, we could justify that purchase. And 2, we expected, on day 1 or 2, we're going to see a little bit of a downfall in productivity, but then we want to see it start coming back up and up and up. And if it's not, we got a real problem. We got to get out into the Gemba and we got to figure out what's going on with this new machine. And so, especially with the throughput dollars per labor hour, it went exactly as you would expect. The day we installed it, next day was down, and then the day after started going up and up and up. And so it really, the decision checking on is something that we don't have as business owners. We don't have a crystal ball. Wouldn't it be nice to just put that crystal ball on your desk and say, hey, I'm going to do this and see what happens? We don't have that. The next best thing we have is an immediate yes or no on the decisions that we're making. So, you know, we live and die by this at all three of our plants. I don't know how anyone does without it, to be honest.
Obviously, we're trying to drive people to focus on what really matters, which is your daily throughput. And then your daily throughput is throttled by or controlled by your control point. So when we get down to the last graph here, this is showing me my daily downtime at my control point. Every time I suffer any level of downtime at my control point, that is a throughput dollar loss, because this is the bottleneck. My capacity is whatever's happening at that control point. Any downtime is absolutely where we need to focus. So that's why I added this graph here, just to make sure that people are well aware of the level of downtime that they have at the control point. Because you need to focus there and reduce that downtime, if not eliminate that downtime, because that's immediate throughput dollar gain as soon as you do. Like I said, if you have an hour of throughput loss in your factory day, and if you're not measuring at this level, I'm sure it's way more than an hour, but even just an hour, just figure out what's an hour of throughput worth to you. If it's only worth $500, what was that, $10,000 a month? I mean, it really adds up. Keeping track of your quality, your downtime at your bottleneck, your control point, and your throughput dollars daily. This is where we get people focused on the right things. Everyone's getting wildly distracted. They're coming to work. They're trying really hard. There's just too many things to pay attention to, and they're going to where they're being pulled, as opposed to, I want you here. This is how I'm measuring you, and this is what we need to focus on. And when it comes to quality, your quality downtime, that downtime graph comes from this quality tool here. So I'm all about focusing people. So in this case, we're just providing you with your top 3 defects. I don't want you, I'm going to show you another demo company I have with a lot of data in it. So this has a lot of defect data. This is what yours is going to look like. It's going to be, there's far too many issues to focus on. You're going to be tempted to open up a lot of these quality issues and start solving them, but then nothing is getting resolved. That's why I'm asking you, regardless of how many defects you have, just focus on these top 3. How did it get to be a top 3 defect? If it happened at your control point, it's automatically ranked higher. If when you reported it, you ranked it as high, it's ranked higher. If it's a repetitive defect, it's ranked higher. If an hour is worth $1,000, if you make $8,000 of throughput a day, let's just roughly say that's $1,000 an hour. If you gain an hour at your control point every day, that's $20,000 a month. Yeah, $20,000 a month. You haven't even done anything lean yet. You're just this is where we start. All of these things together are figuring out what your top 3 are. Now, these stay here until you resolve one. How this works is I'm going to go report some defects. I'm going to report some defects at my control point, which is the sanding area. So I'm going to say that I found lots of scratches. We had to rework it. I'm going to say it's high because there was a lot of pieces here, and I incurred 20 minutes of downtime. Super fast, super easy to record it. I'm going to go back to my overview here. Now I'm going to go solve a problem that's already here. So I'm going to take this one here. I'm going to close it. I'm going to say, I found the root cause and preventive action. Yep.
Can you hit pause? We just got some questions coming in.
Yep.
So the question is, if I understand correctly, the downtime duration is measured automatically by Kaizenify or input by the app by a person responsible. And the second question is, do we report the defects after each reject or at the end of the order?
You report the defects as you find them.
As it's happened, yeah.
As it happens. And you just saw me entering the downtime. So as I'm reporting the defect, I'm saying, here's how much downtime I incurred on this defect. So I'm closing a defect here just so you can see what happens when I close one of my top 3. I got an error message intentionally because I didn't select one of these. I want to show you that I'm trying to force you to do the right thing. So I tried to close this, but without selecting one of these. And this is just me reminding you, hey, did you do an SOP or did you update an SOP? Did you need to train someone? And then I let you close it. I'm going to go here.
Hey, Lynn, I'm thoroughly impressed. I was wondering if could you try doing it third party, because I would like to put it in the guise of, and I know Brad has the hands-on experience, but I don't feel like even when I use the I phrase for what you're saying, that I still can't get through my head like who's actually doing this in the factory. You know, and I know I kind of got the dashboard figured out, but I'd like almost like a third person thing. So the operator on this machine sees this and then he does that. Or the foreman comes over after being notified and he does that.
You have to figure out what is going to work for your organization. You may want to get a team leader involved. Like I know at my shop, we'd say the operator has a problem. The team leader could have the iPad just in their pocket or their phone. They could use their phone and they come over, they verify, yes, that's a defect. Yes, that caused how much downtime. And they're the ones responsible. We just leave it wide open so that.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Brad's sound?
We did, and he was getting to the answer for the why we're here. So we just lost that message.
I'm going to say, if you want to start out with only team leaders entering this in, and then when your line leaders get confident, you can pass it off. It's like anything. You need someone at the top to figure out how it's going to work and how it's going to run and what level of tracking you want. Then you pass it off to the next guy, and then the next guy is going to pass it off to the next guy. I would expect, and I designed it so that an operator could go enter the data.
There you go.
It's very easy. Sure, you're going to want a team leader to be involved in the beginning because he's going to want to make sure his operators understand. And there is some training there. I mean, if we go back to the quality tool and we go to report defects. So this is an operator reporting defects. I have to select the severity, low, medium, high. What's low, medium, high? You guys have to define that for your company. How do I count downtime? It wasn't downtime. It just slowed me down. Okay, maybe about 5 minutes of downtime. It slowed us down, so maybe only 5 minutes. But you guys have to figure that out.
I love it.
Yeah. So yes, it's set up. So you're setting up all your workstations in here. You're setting up your screens. You're defining your lines here. You're defining what defects appear at every line. You're defining what employees can report defects at that line. Like that, I expect a team leader to be entering this stuff in, and eventually whoever's in that work cell should be able to record these defects as they happen. We want that real-time feedback. And the time of day is getting associated with this defect. So, when you're here, actually, let me go to my other company. When you're here, you're going to see a lot of stuff, but you might find some correlations when you're looking at it by day or by type. You're going to want to slice and dice this data. You drill down, you just click, hover over the graph and drill down, and it's going to take you into the actual detail of that defect. So
I think that the lower screen, when you were pointing out the defect on that previous page with the colors, I think that's going to tell me, hey, if I put in these possible defects, but nobody's calling them out, I either have nobody in that area with the ability to call them out, or the person that I was asking to do it just isn't doing it.
You mean record it or fixing it?
Yeah, so that very bottom row, the defect by type. Yeah. Well, if there's going to be a specific type of defect in an area, and we all know when you're doing 1,000 parts that there's going to be something somehow. Yeah. So if I see none in the far right, like there's a big space in between, I might say, that guy, what's wrong with it? Oh, my battery died.
You totally missed what I said earlier. It was golden. I mean, it was as good as it got.
Well, Tony was like, he was just about to give us the answer.
I don't know. Today's the day. We just had another question. So do you need an HMI beside the line or the station? And so, yeah, we use whatever, we use cheap tablets from Amazon. We have them in our Kanban area and we just throw them out if they break. But a phone, an iPad, a tablet, a computer, anything will do the trick. At least generally speaking, you should be running the production timer at your bottleneck anyway. So you've already got a screen there.
I'm going to quickly show these guys how to. So when I said measure hourly at the control point, this is what I meant. I have to use a short duration here because for demonstration purposes. But let's say you need to make a piece every 3 seconds. That's what this says. Now I start my timer every time I make a piece in that work cell. I hit this yellow orange button here. But so yellow's not bad. My screen means I'm within my time, but red means I'm not. So from 20, 30 feet away, my team leader can see, oh, that guy's struggling. Now, this is not meant to hurry anybody up. I'll never ask anybody to work faster or harder. This is to say, we are outside of our tack time and we need help. So I know as a team leader, because I don't want to find out in an hour when I casually walk by that you're struggling. I want to know as soon as you're struggling so I can help you solve your problem. Whether
Lynn,
you're missing parts. Yep.
yeah, this is the answer to the other gentleman who said, how do I track different lines? Well, if you're going to set your timer up for box cabinets at 15 minutes a piece, but for frame cabinets, they're 20 minutes a piece, you do it that day as they're running those different lines.
Yeah, this is your hourly measurement at the line. This is what I expect. This is your tack timer.
No, thank you. This is great.
Okay.
This is exactly what I was asking.
So
Appreciate you.
I run this on my phone when I'm at a customer's or a tablet, and then a lot of our customers have the tablet tied to a big TV screen if it's for the control point, they want everybody in the building to see it pretty quickly. Again, this is not to hurry anybody up. And that's, when we roll it out, we make sure that they understand that don't panic if it goes red, don't go faster. We just need to know, we're responsible for making sure that you have everything you need in the condition you need it. So we need to go figure out, why are you struggling? Maybe there's a material issue or there's shortages, whatever it is. Quite often, the guys working in the shop, they don't want to say anything right away because they don't want to throw someone under the bus. They feel like it's a negative thing. Or they say, what, I can see they're going to get it to me soon enough. It's okay. But I want to make sure I'm aware of those problems so I can fix them so it doesn't happen again. And this is really going to help us right away. So there's this at the hourly level. There's this at the daily level. And then we have our quality tool. So we're managing quality separately, but I only want you working on your top 3 if possible. Knock one off and a new one will come up. So then, and then to extend on that, we have when I have a quality issue, the first thing I ask is, do we have a standard? And if we don't have a standard, then I say, oh, well, we were just basically waiting for a quality issue to happen. Perfect. The first thing we're going to do is create a standard. So that's when we go in, we create our SOP, and then we, let's just see what we have here. I'm going to edit this one. We create an SOP. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you're on the timer screen while you create this SOP, I'll talk at everybody.
Okay.
The timers, they're not just useful right at your control point or your bottleneck. You should be running the timer that never changes at your control point or your bottleneck for sure to get your daily counts and your average time per piece. But we use those timers everywhere throughout the plant at each station. So even your feeding operations or your following operations, they should know, am I gonna starve the bottleneck at any given point? Or maybe you're just doing a Kaizen event or a time study, or just giving operators at each station that information. That's like, hey, for the piece you're making, you should, be averaging about this time. And we run the timers. The timers outside of the control point or bottleneck, they get reset and they just get used in whatever weird and wonderful way we want to use them at that time. But you don't just have access to one. You could open up 25 windows and have that timer running in 25 different places in your factory, which is what we do. So just throwing it out there.
I want to back up Brad on this, on the analog side of the equation. Being in pricing for so many years, I would walk out in the factory and I would say, listen, you're building this hood. I priced this hood. I want to know your time on it because I want to know if I charged enough or if I need to charge more. Now, I might not tell them that if I didn't charge enough and I felt like I charged enough, I might talk about something else, but you get where I'm going with that. I was doing an analog for years.
I've just been doing an SOP here real quick just to show you how fast and easy it is. And if you forget a step, all you have to do is add one and then drag it and move it and it renumbers it. So all of the excuses are gone. Just do an SOP. And then when you print it, you have lots of options: portrait, landscape, 2, 4, 6 images per page, however you want to print it. But then we go back to, now we have a standard. We had a quality issue. Now we've developed a standard. Now we have a training matrix. We want to make sure that everybody's trained on this standard. So this training matrix is also, once again, we're just, oh, I need to get into my other company.
But can you just wait 1 second, Len? I want to ask Brad a question.
Yep.
He mentioned that he has these in all the different stations, and Brad, that's a lot of data. So is it actually being used by you or somebody else at an end of a day, or is it a weekly review? How are you reviewing all these inputs from all these different tablets?
We don't. We only review the one that matters at the, right at the end of the line when things are crossing the finish line. That's the one that gets posted. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the one that gets posted every day. The rest is just for information if you need it. If we just want the operators to be informed. And so they can use it. They can run it and say, oh, I want to try an experiment. So I'm going to run the production timer and see what my average time per piece is. When you're making different products, hey, I want to report, like for us in one of our companies, we have 39 different door styles. We want to know each door style, how long does it take to cut? And so they're just like information only. If we want to delve in, then we make a point of keeping track of it. But other than that,
are they exporting at the end of the day regardless?
no, not at each station, just the control points.
So that CSV or whatever file, it just kind of goes by the wayside every day, then kind of, right?
Yeah, unless we have a reason to dig into a feeding or following operation, we don't even look at it.
Thank you, Brad.
Sorry, on the defects, how do you establish what a defect is? Like just as it comes up, or do you look at what you've historically had as defects that just because we're just getting started? What do I put in there?
You mean what qualifies as a defect? You mean what's good or bad?
Yeah, does it matter? Like, do you record, type in everything that happens in a day, which, it might not happen again? Or do you try and establish repeating defects, or does it matter?
Well, so ideally you're recording every defect. So I even use this in the hidden factory at the level of, if someone is interrupting my engineer who's at the bottleneck or a control point in my hidden factory, I set up interruptions as a quality issue, and I have him recording that, because an hour at your bottleneck every day is equal to your, an hour of lost throughput. If engineering is my bottleneck in my hidden factory, I want them to even count interruption. At a minimum, put it at your bottleneck. I would put it everywhere. The CNC operator may have defects because he's got, maybe the programming is incorrect, or it's hard to understand, or he has some questions. Maybe the guys in the door cell are saying, our raw material is terrible. We're struggling with it. We're having to do a lot of sorts. All of those, I want all the data. The stuff that doesn't happen over and over again is never going to bubble up, right? What's going to bubble up to your top 3 is what's affecting your control point and what's repetitively happening and what's costing you more money. Because you'll notice here.
Yeah. Okay. So I just got a slightly different take on that question that maybe.
Oh, okay.
One of us is going to cover it. Is that he's just getting to setting it up now. So yeah. What defects should you put in there? And I would say, Phil, put in the 10 that you know what I mean? Just start there with the ones that that come up on a daily basis or weekly or monthly or whatever they come up on. And then as the other ones happen, yes, you'll be adding them as they happen. And then if you're in a custom environment and you're like, well, that one thing may never happen again, you might want to try and like expand how you're categorizing defects and then group them so that you're not losing them from job to job. It's not like scratch on left door, scratch on right door. It's scratches on doors, and then you capture it from the first job, the second job, the third job. And does that make sense? What is one of us getting the
Grant.
question
Yeah,
right?
yes, that's exactly the answer.
Oh, I
didn't
see. Yeah, I
wanna-
understand.
Brad, I want to add one that's probably not right since you're already right. But I want to add that if somebody's not doing standard operating procedures and you have a defect, that's also how you would want to find out you have a defect because you're not following standard operating procedure.
Quality tool. When you go to enter a defect, it asks you, do you have a standard? Did you follow
Uh,
the standard? Is that
well, no, sorry. I'm just
no?
going to correct you on that. I'm going to say if
Okay.
you're going to close a defect, so let me just go
Oh,
find a
right.
defect here. So I'm gonna go close this defect. What I'm doing is I'm saying I'm going to force you to click one of these. Did you need to retrain someone on an SOP? Did you need to update an SOP, or have you determined it's not applicable? So, but I'm making
Right.
you intentionally have to think about that and answer that question. Ideally, either someone needs to be trained or your standard needs to be updated. But you're having a defect is going to expose. The first question is for missing parts. Do I have a standard to make sure that we're never missing parts? Yes. Did we follow it? Yes. Okay, now we have to fix our standard because something's wrong. It needs to be more robust. Did we have a standard? Yes. Did we follow it? No. Okay, now we're going to talk about why it's important, why we do it this way. Like it's just, again, it's another level of accountability, but without a standard, the defect should be exposing the fact that you don't have a standard. And if you do, now you're just refining.
And one of the things that I've noticed, I noticed it at my companies, everybody, is we're looking for these software solutions that solve problems for us. Doesn't exist. Like the best that we can do is give your team information, and they still have to go do something about it. You still have to go to the operator and say, are you like there's a defect, did you follow the standard? I mean, it's embarrassing, but it happened at my company last week. I'm thinking, guys, we should be so far past this, but we are full of human beings and we make mistakes. I had to walk over to one of our operators with the printed standard, and I'm like, you're causing defects, please follow this standard. Well, I find it easier to do it this way. I'm like, that's great. Please follow this standard. You're making defects. Every one of these charts, every one of these graphs, every one of these things, we have to remember the most important overriding principle is we're just trying to drive behavior. That's it. What did Goldratt say? Tell me how you measure me. I'll tell you how I behave. With all of these metrics, we can drive people to do the right thing.
Well,
Guys,
and the ultimate goal is higher productivity, and you must get control of your defects, your downtime, anything affecting your control point, and you want to have that timer to make sure you're on track for your productivity goals today. And then once you get all of that dialed in, now you're looking at improvements. I just made an improvement. Oh, look, we had, higher throughput dollars today. That worked really well. And now you're looking at your next improvement. So you're improving by reducing your quality and downtime, and you're improving by reducing the waste in your changeovers, reducing the waste in your cycles. So it's all just driving to greater throughput every day. It's just a system to drive you, to focus you.
guys, it all makes sense what you are saying, and I agree with you. But I have a quick question for Phil, just to make sure. But what I think he meant when he asked the first time, maybe, please correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, but I think I want you to understand if it is possible for the operator to pick the exact defect reason. And only in case, if he has the possibility we have the possibility to define the exact, the default reasons, and only in case none of these would apply.
So we're gonna go through like Brad said, and we're gonna put some of the ones that we know happen. And then when we get a new one, we're gonna add that one.
If you call the team leader over and you say, hey, I have this new defect, he's just going to add a defect here. He's going to go, oh, okay, well, here's a new defect. I don't know what we want to call it. This is where you assign the value. And then, you can assign a color to it to make it easier. So there's a new defect. He would just add it to the line, and now you have it available. But I just want to go through this too. So when we assign a dollar value to that defect, that's where we have this total defect cost. This is like some level of material and labor baked into it. It's not going to be precise. It's trying to quantify for people, what is this really costing you? But also, we're deducing what your downtime cost is based on your throughput dollars that you're reporting daily. So this is coming from this. So your throughput dollars per day divided by the number of minutes in a day tells, so I know what your throughput dollars per minute is in this application. And then if you record downtime at your control point, we just tell you how much it's worth. So this helps, right? This helps me say, oh, you know what, this missing parts cost us $400, $500, $640 that one time. So we're trying to give people an idea of how bad is it.
Well, Lynn, I think we're getting to the 1 hour mark here for everybody.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So we gotta start to say goodbye. But hopefully you found these tools useful. Lynn, if you could post that link. We've got a link for everybody to if you sign up and you want to give all these tools a whirl, please do. It's free for 60 days or something. We don't want to sell you anything that you're not using. Make sure that you're enjoying them as much as we do. There's the link. If you just click that link, then that will get you access in there for your 60-day trial.
We are always making improvements to the tools. There's stuff that you didn't see here that we didn't cover today. If you sign up for that free trial, I send you a link and then I do a full demo with you and show you how we set it up and how we use it. And today, this whole thing was sponsored by Kaizen Made Easy. So Ahmed at Kaizen Made Easy made sure that he put all the relevant information out there on LinkedIn. And then that's why we put this whole thing together. So I just want to give a shout out to Ahmed. He's doing a great job with his Kaizen Made Easy page. Lots of great information, lots of great posts coming out every day.
Hopefully everybody, there's some stuff in there we didn't cover. Like Lynn said, we'll do a separate webinar on all the Kanban cards, the SOPs, maybe a deeper dive into some of the timer tools and how we use them. If you can't stand the suspense, just go ahead and get your free trial started and Lynn will walk you through the whole thing in person anyway. Jason, tell us what you're thinking. Like, how are you trying to apply it? Where's your head at?
Well, just certain companies, they're kind of nervous about sharing financial information with the shop floor, and so it always becomes a bit of a talking point before you roll something like this out, as far as who gets visibility to what information. So I think if you're looking at the material cost, then you're kind of giving the game away. So if you take that out of there, at least you kind of creating some sort of it's not they can't fully understand exactly what the operating costs are at the shop floor, right? Because
are you talking about the over the line chart or the quality?
I'm talking at the quality level.
It's not precise either. There's no precision to that specific defect. We don't know. If you replace the part, it's material and labor. If you reworked it, it's material, it's labor, but it's more labor. We're just saying, just assign some level of dollar value to it so we can at least rationalize our defects. And this here, we're not showing this to anybody until we're ready. And you may never show it to people. We just say, as an owner and an operations manager, those are the two people that should be living by this every single day. And that's how you're measuring me if I'm the operations manager. So the two of us can see it. And if you choose to share it with the rest of the team, which someday I hope you do, if you read that book Jack Stack wrote, The Great Game of Business, most people think you're making way more money than you are already. So it's worth it's not as good as they think it is. But also, this is when you're ready to have your entire team think like owners, because they have two things they could do here. They could help you raise throughput, which you're asking them for already. And they can help you reduce this line, which they don't realize how high that line is. You're now giving them the power to, instead of saying, hey, we need a new forklift, which is what they're asking for today, they might at this point go, oh, you know what, we could probably repair that one for about $1,500. I think we can make that last a couple more years. They're going to think a lot differently.
Jason, what business are you in?
I'm a consultant. I've got my own business, and I've worked with another consulting firm called Competitive Capabilities International. But I'm kind of seeing how this can be a really valuable tool and relates well. I like how you boiled it down to the basics, your throughput, dollars per labor hour. I mean, that's great. Now, as far as your pre-work to putting something like this in place, so you typically recommending doing your value stream mapping, getting all your cycle times, or you kind of just going with the gut feel, this is where my bottleneck is, and I'm going to calculate my takt time based on design versus demonstrate it? What do you typically do to get it going quickly?
We're just setting it up. Just start using it.
Keep going,
And if you
Houston.
don't know where your bottleneck is today, we just have a conversation. And if you don't know where your control point is, that's also just a conversation. Depending on what you do, it's pretty easy, you know,
Yeah, you can tell
to
generally
figure out.
sneaking up on the line, right?
Yeah, it's where all your work in process is sitting in front of it usually, right? So it's
That's your
just
visual
a couple of
management.
questions. You can usually narrow it down, and that's where it is today. I might say I want it in stain, and we're moving it, and it is in stain now. I mean, and then you just say that's my new control point now. That's what we're going to do in real life, anyways. Is it where it should be? Is it wandering? Let's stop it from wandering. Is it where it should be? Let's move it to where it should be, and now let's keep it there.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Yeah, and is this your prime kind of solution, Kaizenify, this tool that you've put together?
I won't go and help someone unless they use this. First thing we set up, we just say, hey, we just need to see where we are and how we're doing. Let's get this going. And that's your first immediate massive productivity gain is just you starting to use the tools.
Although
the sooner people get it set up, the better, because then as you're making improvements, you're celebrating with the team because you put that, you walked in the front door, you said, hi, I'm here to help. You put that line in the sand. You said, this is where we are today. Now let's start improving. And you can just watch the numbers, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And then you can see, if you go back to your historical, how we did all year. Did we get better throughout the year? You know, you have that view as well. Like all of these tools we made to take all of the excuses away and to give, you know, our customers the ability to get those big throughput gains in the beginning.
No, that looks great. I'm so glad I came across this, and I'd like to learn a little bit more and connect with you guys after this. So thank you so much. I look forward to sharing the demo video.
I will be sending out a follow-up email with a link to the recording too, in case you want to watch it again. Actually, it's more so for people that didn't make it. But
what I like about it, you know, like you said, sometimes less is more. This is simple. It's a good basic way to get things moving. And once you create the visibility, then people want to start adjusting things. Without that visibility, it's like pie in the sky for them, right? So
everybody's focusing on a million different things, and this really is just to drive focus, and we kept it as simple as we possibly could.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much. So nice to meet both of you.
All right.
You're welcome. Jason. Nice to meet you as well.
No, it was interesting what you were saying, Brad, about opening up a lot of different windows with the productivity timer. Like I can see, like just to test yourself or test how it's going in an area. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, almost nobody knows what they're doing all day. They just are doing it, you know, instead of going, takes me this long to do that. It's just, you know, and you don't have to log it. You don't need all that data, but we just want people to have the ability to know if they want to know. And then we want the ability for your team leaders to know when they have to know. Well, I'm on my way to Hunter Trim and Cabinets right now here in Texas. So everyone can look forward to seeing that lean video shortly.
Again, I put my email in there in case anyone wants to contact me directly, and I will send an email out. And then if you want some help, just let me know. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.